Hello, my name is Garza, and for this video project, I will be going over the clean Olympic lift. This video is a part of a class project. The information covered was collected with the sole purpose to expand our understanding of the effects of different exercises in the body. The information that will be discussed next is not a professional opinion, nor the techniques shown should be taken seriously. What are the major muscles, joints, and movement involved with the clean? The joint and movements involved in the clean are the hips, knees, and ankle joints, which utilize the triple extension movement. The major muscles are the gluteus maximus, and it is used to thrust your hips forward as you pull the bar from the floor. Also, when you scoop your body beneath the bar and extend your hips to stand in the fully erect position at the end of the exercise. Next, we have the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and the biceps femoris, which are also known as the hamstrings. The hamstrings work to stabilize, flex, and rotate the knee, as well as aid in hip extension. Next, we have the vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis, and the rectus femoris, which make up the quadriceps. Like the hamstrings, these muscles work together to stabilize and extend the knee and flex the hips. Next are the soleus and gastrocnemius muscles of the calf, which are responsible for plantar flexion when you lift your heels off the floor. And lastly, we have the deltoids of the shoulders and the trapezius of the back, which are the primary upper body muscles being used during this exercise. The traps are used to shrug your shoulders during the pull phase of the exercise and rotate the shoulder blades during the scoop phase. The deltoids work to lift your arms up, pull your elbows out during the scoop and second pull, and to stabilize your shoulders during the catch phase of the exercise. Common mistakes, how to avoid and how to fix them. The first one is an incomplete pull. This is often the reason why an athlete is not able to execute the catch properly, and this can cause injury. Another one of the most common mistakes seen in athletes is pulling with the lower back. To correct this issue, the strength and conditioning coach may instruct the athlete to lean against a robust vertical structure with the arms hanging forward as a simulation of holding the bar, and commencing a hang clean followed by a Roman deadlift movement, keeping the shoulders in contact with the squat rack. Next is lack of postural integrity. Next, we have executing the triple extension too early. Following that is excessive horizontal barbell displacement, and having improper horizontal displacement may be caused by an overemphasis of hip extension, which may bump the barbell forward. If the torso remains stable, the barbell will be kept closer to the body and the athlete can efficiently use his or her body during the exercise. Next is excessive resistance. An incorrect load may limit the ability of the athlete to perform the clean, so the strength and conditioning professional should give the correct amount of resistance to the athlete. Next is premature arm involvement. Although the athlete needs some arm involvement as he or she moves down to receive the weight, pulling with the arms should not be emphasized. And lastly, improper catch position. This can be related to an increase in horizontal barbell displacement or the inability to move into a full squat. The athlete should accept the barbell in a full squat position and limit jumping forward or backward as the barbell is received. While doing research, I found that there were two different groups of variations for the clean. The first one is training variations. Kettlebells, dumbbells, water bags, and sandbags are all variations used to help in the learning of the clean techniques. Another training variation is the start and the end positions may also be modified based on the individual's preference, capabilities, strengths, goals, and so on. The next group is exercise variations. So the exercise variations for the clean are the hang clean, the power clean, and the hang power clean. Next, I would like to get into the specific movements that are with the clean, and I'd like to break them down step by step. So in this slide, the first two photos on the left are going to be the start position. On the right, the two photos are going to be the end of the first pull, and these two complete the first pull. Next, again, we see the end of the first pull on the left, and on the right, we have the jump position. These two movements are the transition phase. Next, again, on the left, we see the jump position, and on the right, we see the end of the second pull. This is going to complete the second pull, and as we transition from jump position to the end of the second pull, we also have the hip thrust. For the next movement, we are going to drop under the bar. Then we are going to receive the bar. And lastly, we are going to recover to standing position. Now, here's a short clip of just putting it all together for one continuous and smooth movement. And one more time. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and here are my citations and references.